thought Lover's Enigma was going to be another mystery romance otome, and technically it is. But the deeper I got into this game, the more uncomfortable, emotional, and honestly stressed I became in the best way possible. Between the cult storyline, the grief themes, and constantly questioning who I could actually trust, this game genuinely got under my skin. Before we jump in though, huge thank you to the publishers of the game for providing me with a review key for this video. As always, all thoughts here are completely my own, and I'll be talking honestly about both the strengths and the flaws. I'll also be showing a few clips from the demo and the game's marketing materials throughout this video, so there will be some minor spoilers for early story setup and characters. So if you've been curious about this darker indie otome and wondering whether it's actually worth diving into, let's talk about the 5 things you need to know about Lover's Enigma and why it completely caught me off guard. At first glance, Lover's Enigma looks like a mystery romance about solving a death. But the deeper you get into the story, the more it becomes a journey about grief, trust, healing, and learning how to move forward when life feels broken. The story follows Miyuki, a woman whose husband Kasuki dies under mysterious circumstances shortly after their marriage. The official report claims it was suicide, but Miyuki struggles to believe that explanation. Determined to uncover the truth, she begins investigating what really happened, and along the way, she becomes entangled in a strange web of secrets involving a religious cult, supernatural forces, hidden memories, and people who may know more than they're willing to admit. As the story unfolds, you are constantly forced to question who you can trust. Every route reveals new pieces of the mystery, and each choice can lead Miyuki closer to healing, heartbreak, or something far more unsettling. The biggest strength for me is not simply pursuing romance routes. Instead, each route acts like a different piece of a larger puzzle. And rather than focusing on lighthearted romance, the story spends more time exploring how Miyuki copes with loss, trauma, and the difficult choices placed in front of her. The game leans more on a darker atmosphere, and while there are horror elements, I feel the experience as more eerie and emotional than outright scary. The story often feels closer to a psychological mystery or gothic romance than a traditional otome game. Lover's Enigma adds several systems that make it feel different from a typical visual novel. You can freely explore locations, interact with side characters, revisit meaningful places, and uncover additional details about the world. The game also includes a sanity system and rhythm-based minigames that symbolize Miyuki's efforts to manage stress and keep moving forward. The mechanics were pretty easy to understand after a while, and I appreciate that they add something different to the experience. Replayability is a major part of visual novels. However, I do wish the game included an ending list or flowchart to make route tracking easier. The love interests feel very different from one another, with each route revealing a unique perspective on the larger mystery. Haruki is the eccentric exorcist hired by Miyuki's mother to help with her spiritual problems. He's unpredictable, awkward, and sometimes says the strangest things. Underneath his odd behavior, though, is someone genuinely trying to help. I find his route especially memorable because of its supernatural elements and some unexpected narrative twists. Ryota is Miyuki's childhood friend and the person in a fake dating arrangement with her to appease her mother. He's often awkward and struggles to express himself, but his concern for Miyuki feels sincere. I enjoy the emotional vulnerability between him and Miyuki, as well as the way their shared history influences the story. Ren is Miyuki's neighbor. He's sarcastic, easily irritated, and tends to push people away. He has this strong tsundere energy. And while he can come across as harsh at first, I find myself growing attached to him as you learn more about him and his motivations. Kasuki, Miyuki's late husband, remains one of the biggest mysteries in the game. Even though he is gone when the story begins, his presence can be felt throughout every route. You slowly uncover pieces of who he was, what happened to him, and how deeply his story is connected to the larger mystery. I definitely wanted to learn more about him, and felt emotionally invested in uncovering the truth behind his death. I love the visual presentation in this game. I find the artwork beautiful, atmospheric, and pretty memorable. The monochrome-inspired aesthetic helps create a unique identity, while the animated CGs are very impressive, which I feel made emotional scenes feel more impactful. The game's interface is one of the game's most distinctive features. I like the use of a phone, but it could be a tad too small when using my Steam Deck. On the audio side, I really enjoyed the soundtrack, the ambient sound design, and just the overall atmosphere. I felt on edge the whole time, which is what the game is going for. The music helps reinforce the game's emotional and mysterious tone, while the sound effects add to the feeling of unease throughout the investigation. And if you enjoy narrative game discussions like this, feel free to subscribe to the channel. I talk about Otome and story-rich games that are worth your time, especially the hidden ones people don't talk about enough. With the game's emotional storytelling, interactive exploration, sanity mechanics, visual presentation, and willingness to tackle heavier themes, I felt it stood out from more traditional Otome games. However, I feel that some storylines needed additional development, or that certain mysteries deserved more explanation. And maybe the story could have explored Miyuki's difficult relationship with her mother a bit more. Lover's Enigma is part mystery, part supernatural thriller, part psychological drama, and part romance. The story constantly asks you who you trust, how much you are willing to sacrifice, and whether healing is possible after a profound loss. I felt that the relationships are pretty grounded and developed through vulnerability and emotional support. I just think that the romance worked because it focused on two people learning to rely on each other during difficult circumstances. That said, the mystery and horror elements took center stage, with less room for traditional romantic moments. As a result, the game feels less like a dating simulator and more like a story where romance grows naturally alongside a larger mystery. Lover's Enigma feels like a good fit for players who enjoy narrative-heavy experiences where mystery comes before romance. Players who like uncovering secrets, piecing together clues across multiple routes, and exploring stories about grief and emotional healing may find a lot to appreciate here. On the other hand, those looking primarily for constant romantic scenes or a lighter, more traditional Otome experience may find the mystery and psychological elements take center stage more often than expected. And if Lover's Enigma has caught your interest, and you're wondering what other Otome games are worth keeping an eye on this 2026, the next video is perfect for you.